Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. While here in Wonderland, we're going to discuss topics and share stories to help clear up the distorted views of relationships. We provide a safe place for balanced and honest conversation. While each episode can help all who listen, the focus will be on the community of color. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Hey everybody, welcome back to Through the Looking Glass podcast. We're here, and thank you for all the amazing feedback we got from the last episode. We have been laughing at ourselves from the last episode. So thanks for all the feedback. And the fact that a lot of the feedback said, even though there was a lot of laughs, the point still got across. So that's kind of why we do what we do, is to get the point across. Now, this evening we have a really, really interesting conversation that's probably going to take us down a couple of rabbit holes and probably put us on blast. I know myself with this topic. But before we jump into it, let's go ahead and do our mental health roundabout. I'm going to start with Keisha first. How you doing, Keisha? How was your last?
Hello, everybody. Life is going good right now. Thank goodness. It's been a pretty decent week overall. Had some little humps to get over, but other than that, it's been a decent week. Looking forward to the weekend. How y'all doing?
I'm tired. What about you, Chris?
Oh, man, I'm straight, man. Like that last season that I was in, y'all know I was going through it, so I haven't got through that. Thinking a lot clearer now, got a different perspective on a lot of stuff, so making it do what it do.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. That made my whole heart happy. I know it sounded really sarcastic, but I mean it.
You know what? And that reminds me of a song. You know that song, I Can Think Clear, See Clear.
That's what I was singing in my head. I was going to sing it.
Sing it, Chris. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Let's do it, Chris.
No, we not doing that. No, look, no, we're not doing it. Come on, we're not starting this already.
All right, bud, let's go. My bad.
Oh boy. What about you, Marcus? How's your week been?
Nah. We've been good. Some changes, but it's been good. I have been all right. Done better. I'm making it.
That's good to hear.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm tired.
Tired.
This new gig here, I'm actually having to get out my bed. Like, I actually have to set alarm clocks now. Like,
you joining the real world. You see that, right?
What is happening?
Running streets.
What?
I don't know.
What'd you say, Chris?
You said what?
What is that? Energy drink?
No, heck no. It's a sparkling water.
Oh, water is good, guys. Get your water in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm tired. Chris is healed. Keisha's getting ready for the weekend, and Marcus has made some changes. So we've had a very interesting, productive week. What is so funny, Chris? Look, let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. So if you've been listening, following the podcast, we use Maya's quote a lot. We use it so much that we are going to devote a whole freaking episode to it. And that quote is, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time, right? But there's so much more to this quote.
Absolutely. A person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind.
Or I'm crazy.
Or believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, more often than not, those of us who don't trust life say, don't say a thing like that. You're not really crazy. You're not really unkind. You're not really mean. And as soon as you say that, the person
that you know
and shows you, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I was unkind. So now why are you angry?
So that's actually the whole quote. Now, let's just jump right into this. What are your viewpoints about that? Like when you hear that quote, I mean, and I know we've used it multiple times, but like when you hear that quote, what what comes to mind? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
You think about, for me, I think about past experiences, past relationships, like when people really were showing you this, but they was actually doing that. Um, I mean, I can go back to high school, when that first relationship or whatever, and you thinking this person is about that, but they really for everything else.
For the streets.
They for the streets. And then you looking at and you don't see all the red flags. But then it's like you blinded. But once you see the red flag, once you see them for yourself, then it's them. So and then that first initial incident that they do, and you continue to forgive and keep going, then that is like, what I'm saying, that's like what an experience is like. When I think about that quote, it's like if that person had been their real themselves, then I wouldn't have had that experience. You know what I'm saying?
So you're putting the fault on the person too. Are you
And
putting all the fault?
no, I put it on myself too because I didn't see it.
Or was
But
it that you've ignored it?
yeah, I did. I did it a couple times. So I mean, it is. So I mean, like, yeah, I put it on myself, and then and later on, I probably can reverse the role, so I don't mind.
What?
Nothing.
No. What?
I mean that's a talking point. So we're gonna get to that talking point.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Make sure you make a note of that.
We're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put that in the parking lot and circle back around.
Mhm.
What about you, Chris?
He's gonna get his lick back. I think I kind of have mixed feelings about it because I think it's human nature that you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And then, I mean, no one's perfect. So, I mean, sometimes people may do things. I think if it becomes like a reoccurring habit, then yeah, you got to go ahead and check it then instead of, like you said, ignoring. I think a lot of times we see the red flags early on, but because for whatever reason we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, want to know, let's don't say and try to make things work. We can get through this. But I mean, when it continues to happen, that's when you got to go ahead and just, I mean,
When you say continue, though, like, is there a time frame when you're talking about continuing? Like the second,
it's
the
like
third,
if
the 27th?
no, I mean, what, like, say for instance, if it happens the first time something happens, let's say, I'm trying to think of a scenario. I can't think.
Trying to give him that second chance, really. You
Yeah,
just give him
but the
chance,
first time it
think
happened, yeah, you might ignore it. You might ignore it, might not think it's that big of a deal. Now, what happens again right away, then if you speak on it, hey, I didn't like that you did blah, blah, blah. And then you brought it up. Now, if it happens again after you've spoken on it, that's when it's like, all right, it's time to go.
Well, just to add to all of that, I think, first off, let me just address this. I think flags are always shown. It's just that we choose to overlook them. I really do think flags are always shown. As far as when a person show you who they are the first time, believe them. I also believe that too, but I also believe in sometimes giving a person another chance. Then it's kind of like having a pet snake. You know it's a snake, but
Hold
you
up,
love the
Don't be
snake.
taking DMX fire. Nah, I can't even
Okay.
put. Go ahead, go on with the snake now. Go on with the snake. Sorry, DMX. R.I.P.
You still can, please add my. Anyway, it's kind of like truly people, and when you watch the news, people who have had pet snakes and they get attacked by their snake. You knew it was a snake. You may have it as a pet. You may take it out of its cage. You may let it crawl all over you and everything. You may do all of that, but know it's a strong possibility. This snake can attack you. That's its nature. You know what I'm saying? So I believe, when a person show you who they are, if you choose to move forward with this person, don't erase. I mean, you may forgive, but don't forget. Know that it's a possibility that this person can show you what you saw again.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Chris' face. I'm sorry.
What, Chris? What would you like to say, Chris?
I know we've talked about this before. That whole forgive and forget. Like, you have to, if you forgive somebody, you gotta forget it. You can't continue to hold on to those feelings, because you're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to come and fester once again.
But
So,
technically,
you have to forget.
Technically, if you forgive someone, you're always going to remember. And when I say remember, I'm not saying to always bring it up to that person or have something to say, but our brain is a database. You're going to always remember what that person did. I'm not saying to hold it against them, but you do need to have a mental note. If you choose to continue with that person, I'm not saying bring it up every time you have a disagreement or anything, but
no, but if they repeat that behavior though.
Well, if they repeated that behavior, then all of what she just said in her quote is just dead on. If they showed you.
Yeah, it's a pattern. If they continue to repeat that behavior and you continue to forgive, then that's kind of like, that's a shame on you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and say the whole quote. Go ahead,
Marcus. I want to.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do it because the peace sign. I'm not saying.
I was just gonna say, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's not a chicken.
Oh, you could have kept that. And then hold up. The look on his face was like he really did something. Hold up.
Man, come on, man.
Hold up.
Chris,
really, that was
not. Good one, Chris. Chris, that was a good one, Chris.
And Keisha,
glad I get the post edits.
That's a good one, Chris. I like that.
Okay, well, hear me out.
They didn't think about it, so they didn't thought of that one, so that's why.
Hear me out. I love Maya, and I'm all about the basis of what she was saying. But I also think there needs to be some further investigation, right? So if somebody does something one time, what's really going on in that person's life? Somebody might say, I'm not responsive, or you don't call, or you don't blah, blah, blah. And it might look like I have no interest. And I might have interest. I just got a lot of crap going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody used that and said, well, that's how she's going to be, how she is day one, that's how she's going to be completely, that wouldn't be a true statement. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and I can't be as present as I would like right now. So I think there has to be a level of, okay, further inquiry.
So kind of like a little grace.
I don't even know if I would call it grace. If you notice a behavior, ask a question. Like kind of something like Chris said. I guess I agree with him on that. Not saying you let something repeat over and over again, but if you notice it, say, hey, I'm noticing this. What's up? They might be able to tell you what's up. And then if it doesn't pan out, then okay, I'm done. Or if it's a repeat, right? One behavior should not equate to a pattern. I need to see repeated behavior and say, okay, this is a pattern. If you did it one time, it could be a lot of stuff going on. Work could be something, family, something could be going on. So I wouldn't say, okay, you didn't return my call when I wanted you to return my call. I'm done. It's a wrap. I'm going to ask you why. And if it makes sense, then okay. But if it turns into a pattern, then that's another concern. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you just got to have a communication. If you got that open line of communication with one another, because some days we just have days where we don't feel like being bothered. And if you just let the person know, look, man, like just send a text in the morning, hey, I ain't feeling it today. Like I probably not going to be as available. And just letting them know, so now they're not reaching out to you, trying to contact you, and then they're trying to figure out what's going on. You kind of giving them the heads up about, hey, this is what I got going on.
I agree, Chris, because that's accountability. People sometimes when they're going through something, they isolate, they disappear, and then when they get past it, then they come back around like, hey, and then you want to tell the person all of what was going on. It's like, no, be accountable. And like you said, something simple as a text message or something.
Yeah.
That's
So the
It's,
question,
I mean, it's learned. I think that's, I mean, some people have to learn to do that. And some people just used to just like, okay, I'm out.
disappearing,
Some people
blasting
gotta
off
learn.
into
That's what I'm
space.
saying.
well, I think
Right.
that's why it's important to have these conversations to let people know, hey, this is the kind of person I am. You know, I'm a communicator, so I'm asking if XYZ. If it happened once and it's something that really, really bothers you, then have that communication with that person. If that person don't adjust themselves, then they don't give a damn enough to adjust themselves, I think. It's just what I think.
So what about personal experiences? Like have you all ever been in a relationship or just an experience where somebody was exhibiting behaviors and you were noticing it, but you kept pushing ahead and it ended badly?
Hmm.
I,
I mean,
I have.
you have, Keisha?
I have. I saw the
Well,
flags, but I was trying to weigh out the qualities of this person, the good and the bad.
mm,
Though I saw flags, but it still ended up being just what I had a feeling it was going to end up being.
I saw Chris had something to say. It was on his face.
You got Chris.
I plead the fifth.
I mean, but you know, so I've been in a situation where I've seen some, the behavior like lack of time and lack of attention and stuff like that, and you know, it was repetitive and it was communicated, but it wasn't reciprocated. So when that happened and it continued to happen, and then like certain behaviors, certain patterns, like not being where you're supposed to be, not saying one thing and doing another thing, and always coming up with an excuse whenever availability was there, and having something come up and then have to leave. And so it was you see it, but you want to stay in it. And another thing that happens is during the experience, your people on the outside that's close to you, they see it, but you see it too, but you cover it up. You give excuses, and everybody else like, "Hey,
Right.
dog, that ain't what you want. I don't think she right for you." Or, "Hey, man, you better than that." So
Right.
that's a personal experience. So and I you continue to hang into it. Then so it just, and then eventually it just all blows up, and it's kind of ugly.
You know,
So
I
yeah.
always wonder what make a person stick around. Like, you know, even speaking for myself,
Hmm.
even with judging the qualities, but you still
Hmm.
see it, and it's like an alarm. Brum, brum, brum. You see it. What makes you stick around so long?
Your heart.
Your heart.
Yeah, your heart.
I
Like,
seen
yeah,
Tate just
Heart,
it's like
Chris.
the heart. Yeah, it's the heart over like the head. The head is like when you
Insert
think about the
emotional by
head.
Carl Thomas.
It's more come on, man, like, yo, you gonna stop doing that. But no, like like your heart is more like emotion, and it's got the emotions and everything tied to it. When it's the head, that's more logical thinking. That's that's more logical thinking. So your head is going to tell you if something's not right. But it's like
What head are we
sometimes you
talking
have
about?
that internal, it no, your brain. Your brain.
Thank you. Let's
brain.
clarify.
There you
Because y'all do
go.
be working
God.
on that head
Look, man.
too. Y'all, that
See,
head
now,
is
first of
much
all,
more
look,
powerful.
not no grown man. You talking about, know what I'm saying? That's little, know what I'm saying, boys
Man, okay,
that hit.
okay.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, but it's like sometimes we have these like internal battles within where it's like your head versus your heart. And I mean, a lot of times your heart, because it's so emotional and you just get those feelings. And so, I mean, your heart wins over and over until it gets to the point where your head it's just like, hey, look, no, this is what it's got to be. This is not good for you, and you have to.
So you let your emotions control
That's what it
the
sounds like.
situation,
That's what it sounds like.
and the logical comes over later on down the road.
Yeah.
I
But
think
I
if
think-
you're hyper emotional though, because some people work off logic more than emotion.
Mhm.
And then that's a different thing, right? Because now it's like, I see this behavior. What's this about?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna have to try to unpackage and now it turns into a psychological experiment. But that sounded really bad. Never mind.
Yeah, and I think
But-
once sex is involved, that's
Mhm.
cloud your judgment as well too. I think,
Right. That's why I was like, what head? What are you talking about?
So it don't.
Oh,
It's,
man,
no, Chris just disagree with that.
Yeah. What I mean, what you mean with sex?
I think when sex is involved, that's an emotional connection.
Man, look.
It will cloud your thinking. Because look, if it's what's up, then you be like, you know what?
You be making arrangements and be like, look, just
negotiating and
yep.
with
Just
yourself.
say, no, we good.
You negotiate with your. It's like, well, man.
Well,
you get past that, so.
I'm glad I ain't never had nothing like that then. Because good God Almighty.
Or just get a good shower head. We already talked about that though.
Let's leave that out of here.
Yeah.
Y'all just jealous. Y'all jealous. There's probably many times when you got done with somebody and they went and take a shower and they was in there for a minute and you was like, oh, what you doing in there?
So, okay.
Sensitive.
I'm sorry.
If you want to go there, that's the reason why that thing's sensitive.
Nah, but I think like what Chris was saying about the emotional thing. I'm going. I don't know. I think sometimes I think loyalty gets in the way too, like obligation. Like sometimes you feel obligated to stay in it or something like that. I think that happens too. Well, I feel like for myself it might have happened. So
I guess for me, have I been in that situation where somebody has shown themselves and I'm just like, I'll file this away. I'll file this away. But like Keisha said, when it's a physical connection, sometimes you can file it away, but it's like, okay, but is it bad enough to let go of this part? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, if it's garbage and then it's like deuces, like, thank you, I needed an hour. But if it's not, you're like,
Right. And then you tell yourself that I'm just going to keep it to just that. But then that's when the two heads begin to connect along with the heart. It's like click, click, so it happens.
the head falls in line with the heart. Is what you're saying.
The head, the heart, and then the head.
The head.
Two heads.
hold on. The hand in the head?
No, Michelle.
No, he's talking about
the head.
Both.
Heart.
I was like, well, we talk about something else completely.
Head, heart, head. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just trying, we might have some
Oh, well.
Under 18 listening.
Use other words.
Have you ever shown somebody who you are? Like, have you ever been like, this is me? And they're like, well, I'm going to roll with it, but they pissed off the whole ride.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Talk about it, Chris. I figured you would be the first one to chime in.
Oh yeah, now, there was a time, like I said, I'm not like this anymore, but there was a time when I would tell people straight up, like, look, man, I ain't shit.
Go ahead, hit your quote. I
would tell them, I ain't shit. What are you talking about? Listen to me now, believe me later on?
No, I'm only here for
that's good.
Yeah, but this is before that. But I would tell them straight up, like, look, man, I ain't shit. So don't know what I'm saying, think you gonna get anything out of me.
That's some
Oh, well,
self-esteem
and then
issues right there.
they would always try to like change me and this and that until they get to the point, and it might be like 3-4 months down the road, and then I'm like, well, I told you what it was up front. I told you I won't shit. You thought it was a joke. I'm dead serious.
How do you describe what is not shit? Give me what does that even mean?
Not
Well,
faithful.
yeah, I was just in a place of like hurt. I was just in a dark place, and I knew I was in a dark place. So I would like let people know. It was almost like a defense mechanism where I'm like, hey, if I tell this person that I ain't shit, I'm basically letting them know up front. So anything that happens to them, that's on them, because I told them beware up front.
So all those events played out bad.
No, I ain't played out bad. It was,
in your
it was
opinion,
good till it won't. I mean,
isn't that the same? It was good until it wasn't.
Yeah,
good until it wasn't.
It was good until it wasn't. It didn't end bad. Just ended.
In your opinion, it didn't end bad because there's a whole nother person in this equation, and you might ask that person, and they can say it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, but
so in your opinion, it didn't end bad.
Yeah, it ended how it was going to end.
What does that even mean? Okay.
I think it's just like when you initially meet somebody, you tell them exactly what your intentions are. It's not to be in a relationship or this, and I am going to date or I am going to see other people. And then that person accepts that. But then, like as stuff goes on, then they're wanting more time that you're not giving and stuff like that. And you're still in that area where, I told you how I was. I'm going to see other people and this like that. So I know I can't do all this with you. No, I don't want to meet your family. No, I don't want to do the picnics and nothing like that or all that stuff. And then when they get there, it's like, I don't want to do none of that. So yeah, that's going to end ugly anyway. Because either that person that was straight up or up front was going to be like, man, I can't do this no more. Because I told you who I was and how I am. And you still want me to do this and want me to, be more than what I said I was going to be to you.
Mm.
My thoughts and my feelings ain't changed. So
Keisha, I guess he said that.
I guess so.
I just was like, okay.
Told you.
I've heard that before though, where guys have said, look, I ain't shit. But when they said it, it was kind of like, look, I'm telling you up front, I'm gonna feed you some bull to get what I want. I may answer my phone, I may not, I may appear to be a little consistent, and then I'm gonna slack off. And when a guy tell a woman something like that, it's just crazy how women are kind of playing it off like, boy, you crazy. Oh, you being silly.
So it's kind of like
that's not the guy's fault. That's not
no,
it really isn't. Right. It is not the guy's fault because you just said that, but you still standing there engaging this person in conversation, and they feel like, oh, he just talking, and then you do just what you said you pretty much was gonna do, or they know what that means. So no, I don't think it's the man's fault when you being upfront, or if a woman say, hey, I'm not even trying. And we can refer back to the Boomerang movie. You remember where Eddie Murphy, he was already dating.
That's my movie.
He was seeing somebody. Then he started dating, Tony Braxton, who was decent, but it was Robin Givens, who was this chick that he just felt like, I'm falling for it. Well, she had already told him, what was up, but he allow himself to open up to her. That's not her fault. She told him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's a good scenario. That's a good scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because both of them was in it for the same reason, but then he got caught up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got caught up. But
he got caught up.
When she knew that he was catching feelings, she said, "Wait, you're not catching feelings, are you?" And he lied.
Yeah.
Said no, when he
Hmm.
should have been honest. So she
Yeah.
backed away from him because he was catching. She knew he was catching feelings,
Hmm.
but she popped up whenever she wanted to, and because he was weak, instead of him holding on to something that was good for him, he slipped back into the foolishness.
Damn, Keisha, that was a good damn
Hey,
example.
hey,
Good God
I take
Almighty,
Cash App. I take
yo,
Cash App. I take
God
debit card.
damn.
I don't take checks. I
Whew.
take Mastercard. Yeah, come
Look,
through now.
good God, yeah, that was on point. That was on point, especially with it being from the guy's perspective, because a lot of times you
Mhm.
don't see that from the guy perspective. So no, that was good.
Well, thank you.
Do you think it's possible to change somebody's behavior?
You talking about the person changing or you changing somebody?
A mix, a
Okay,
mixture.
I say yes and no. And why I say yeah, because it's all about how you trying to go about changing that person. Like if you're not, I mean, I think action speaks louder than words. And I think if the people's in a relationship or whatever, and I think if you start showing the actions of what you're doing, I think it could like kind of overflow to that person. They be able to change through that way, not by nagging and telling and you know saying I need you to do this, I need you to do that, or anything like that. Just by that, just by your behavior
Right. And I've seen
and how
that.
your action.
I've seen
So
that.
yeah, just by your behavior and your actions and stuff. So that's how I do. But as far as with on the when I say why I say no is how you do it.
Yeah.
But if you like,
I've seen it.
yeah,
I've seen it
yeah,
happen with when I was in the service. Um one of my really close friends, she was done with this dude and did not want to deal with him or anything. And it was the fear of losing her that allowed him to really look at himself and his own behaviors. And he literally did what he needed to do to keep that relationship. And it
just kind
wasn't I'm doing it because I want to keep her. He did it because losing her showed where he was having some flaws, and he wanted to work on that because he knew she just he did not want to lose that relationship, and he knew that was like the catalyst for him to get help. So I've seen it happen, and they're still together now, and that was
Okay, yeah, no, that's what I was
decades
gonna
ago.
ask. So I was gonna ask is something like that sustainable?
Yeah. I
of
mean, because
yeah,
he
it's
did it for himself.
Okay.
The
All right.
catalyst was keeping the relationship, but the relationship, him losing her, highlighted areas he needed to work on, and he
yeah,
recognized he needed to do that. So he did the work and was able to maintain the relationship, and it in
and that yeah,
I
I
mean
know.
that's
and
what's
that's
up.
kind
That's
of
what's up.
yeah, but that's kind of the key to it though, and that's kind of the key to it because when you work on yourself, when you work on yourself and not try to work on getting that person back or anything like that, when you start working on yourself, then that makes you draw attention back from that person, and then eventually, it probably heal the relationship, unless that person just totally just was checked out of it and just gone with it. But you can't be selfish with it, like saying like I want her back because I want her back, or I want him back because I want him back. You gotta want you back. So
Right.
you gotta fix yourself up on that part. So you got to do the work for yourself in order to get that attraction back from that person in that relationship. So
That's true.
what you say, Chris, about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you're doing it for you, now,
Yeah.
like I said, if you have like a lot of times, and I'm just speaking from a guy's perspective, a lot of
Hmm.
times a guy will hang on to a woman just to keep her, just to
Hmm.
keep somebody else from having her. And it's like that's, I mean, that's not going about it the right way. Now, if it's somebody, like I said, if you're working on yourself and you see the flaws in yourself and you want to get better with that, then yeah, then I think okay, it would be something that would have it work out, and things could get better and move forward. But you have to be able to work on yourself first and foremost.
Well, I mean, hey, I think you can guide someone to change, but a person ultimately has to want to change. Just like the example Michelle gave about someone she knew, the relationship was fixing to end, and the guy um, pretty much saw what he was losing. I'm putting it in my words, and decided he was going to make the changes to keep the relationship with this female. But he has to make the decision to change. And I think sometimes people fall short when they think they can change this person. They see the flags and they think, I can change this person. I see it, but I know I can change this person. No, people have to want to change. And this is a learned behavior even when you start off with a baby. You know, when you're trying to take a baby off of being breastfed or either the bottle, there's certain behaviors the parent, especially mom, has to do so that the child can follow, you know, and eventually the baby does. So it's a learned behavior that we all, a trait that we all have since birth. So it's just a matter of a person wanting to change. And it hurts when it's somebody that you really care about and they're not willing to put in the work for you to make the changes, you know? So, which is can roll into another subject. We'll
Yeah,
talk.
so I thought, yeah. Well, I think everybody was summing up that you can change somebody, but you can't change them by force.
No,
They gotta want to change, and you got to be able to allow that person to give them that space to change if they choose to change.
right.
And then in that same scenario, you have to change yourself too. I mean, if there's some stuff you might have to work on in a relationship, because every relationship don't break up because of one person,
Right.
and it may be in some cases. I don't know, but I was just saying. But
I think no, Marcus, to add to that, I think there's always two sides. I
yeah,
think there's always work that can be done on both sides
hmm
when it comes down to a relationship. If it comes to an end or whatever, there's always it's ongoing work
yeah,
that can always be done to make the situation better. But there's always, I've never have broken up with a guy and just saw him as, oh my God, it was all him. Even, it's I can always see my flaws somewhere up in it, even if it was not paying attention to a flag, to a red flag,
gotcha, gotcha,
or jumping onto a green flag. So
gotcha.
it just goes both ways.
What's that green flag?
Michelle, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, Michelle.
What was the what are we
It
doing?
was like in behavior. Like, can you change someone's behavior?
No, like I said, when you were talking, when we initially brought it up, I've seen
Mm-hmm.
it happen where it's not by force, it's by fear of losing something, or something has brought this to your attention. Okay, like for me, it was not a change of like somebody said you need to change this. Somebody brought something to my attention I didn't even know I was doing. Apparently, I'm not the best when it comes to responding to text messages and phone calls. Apparently, I suck at initiating conversation. And I didn't think that was a big deal until somebody brought it to my attention, and I was like, oh. Are kind of fading out and going into a bubble of non-communication. I didn't even know I was doing it until somebody brought it to my attention. So sometimes it goes back to what Chris said in the beginning. Communication is super important because some people might be doing behaviors or exhibiting behaviors they don't know is toxic, they don't know is hurtful, or they're just not aware of it. And I think there has to be an understanding that, okay, if you're seeing something in somebody, you're not liking it, it's hurting the relationship, you need to talk about it and don't think it's just going to go away. Oh, he's having a bad day. Oh, work
So,
is blah blah blah. You need to say something.
so just spinning off of that, and we go to this last talk point about. So, what about people that choose not to believe what they are shown? Why do people not believe what they're shown?
I think that goes back to what we have been talking about. I think it could be many things. It could be a trauma bond. It could be mommy daddy issues. It could be the sex. It could be somebody's fear of being alone, somebody who's so hurt that they jump from person to person so they don't have to deal with the work of working on themselves. So I'm just going to stay. It's like the devil I know is better than the devil I don't. Right, Chris? Did you fall asleep?
I was listening. It was a good conversation going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
so I think
You frozen. I thought you was
yeah.
frozen.
So I mean I agree with Michelle. I mean it could be all that above, and then also you could be like you could just have like trauma bond or whatever. I just agree with all what Michelle said because you just summed up everything why somebody would stay, and you just not seeing the flags. You just don't see it because you see it but you blinded by whether it's love, lust, or
Or
just
it's
wanting
not
to
a big
have.
enough thing for you to leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then my question for that, like somebody listening right now could be like, well, this is not the best situation. But if you stay in that, you're never going to be able to experience what the potential, what a better situation is, right? Like, I'm not gonna. Life is too short, and everybody already knows I can't stand wasting time. And if I'm not at peace with who I'm with, if you're not bringing peace into my life, if I'm not helping you expand and you're not helping me expand, we don't need to be together because I'm not going to look back 10 years from now, we in the same spot. We need to be moving forward, moving and building, or we don't need to be together. But that I might have a different thought process. Some people are fine being content with just staying where they're at, but I'm not.
But
I have to
you
have
got
a
to find
building.
you got to find that person that's gonna be fine and content where you at too, because if you got two opposites and one person want to grow and the other person doesn't,
You got a problem.
you got
Yeah,
a problem.
you got a
And
problem.
I go back and I think about what Chris said a while back. He said it, about dating and stuff. He's like, you don't want, you just want to keep what you got and don't want to go none other because it's, what I'm saying, the streets ain't, it ain't out here. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? But you got to be willing to take a chance on it,
Yeah, because I mean,
especially if you're in a situation where you not feeling like you're growing or you don't feel like it's there anymore and nobody's willing to work on anything.
yeah, a relationship can drag you, can bring you down, or build you
Mm-hmm.
up. It's gonna do one or the other. So you got to choose wisely, right?
Keisha.
And hey, I'm listening to y'all. Y'all flowing. I mean, the question, what question you got for me? What?
I mean, is it well? Just I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you think? Why people stay? Why people stay? Why do they stay?
People stay, just to add on to what y'all already said, it could be sex, fear of being alone, could be the trauma bonds, could be finances, um, could be kids. Kids play a role in it too. Could be religion. Um, could be embarrassment. Um, it's a number of things.
Yeah,
Could
you
be
said
fear because of domestic violence. It could be a number of things. The reason why people stay
gotcha.
could be this person about to retire and
Benefits.
benefits.
Cheaper to keep
So
her.
I gotta get
I've
those
heard it all.
benefits.
Why people stay,
And be sad and miserable.
Yep.
but they
And
got that
life is
mighty
so
dog,
short. Life is so short to be sad and miserable.
What
right?
you about to say, Chris? Because I saw you about to say something, man. Come on.
I don't want to offend nobody.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Everything you say is offensive most of the time. So go
No, it
ahead.
isn't. Go ahead, Chris.
I ain't gonna
Golly.
say.
No, I
You know what I'm
mean,
saying?
You say
Crock
it
pot
right.
season, baby.
oh man, I mean, a lot of times people
Crock pot
stay
Carita.
together.
Coretta. Crock pot Coretta.
People stay together. It's just like it's stupidity. Like especially
Woo!
why stay why
He said he
stay
was
with
gonna
somebody
offend
that you
somebody.
know is not good for you? And it's like, man, like I was having this conversation with somebody early this week, and I was just saying, and not even just in like romantic relationships. You have like people friendships where it's like, yo, you know this person is not good for you, and it's like it does bad things to your mental, but yet you keep this person around for what reason? Knowing the damage that it does to your psyche and your mentals and just your whole overall well-being. And it's like, yo, come on, man, like we have to like, so I mean, get used to like cutting people loose. Like, yo, if somebody ain't rocking with you like they need to rock with you, then just cut them loose, and you can't worry about that. And it's just so much of that going on.
With that being said, Chris, I think about a relationship a friendship that one of my relatives have, and you know they grew up, went to school together, played ball together, and everything like that. But the friend was a drunk, and you know, and he moved on, and the other friend just moved on, got a house, did everything else, and the other friend's still a drunk, and you know, was giving stuff, and is now just deteriorating. But if he's like, in that words, if you still hung around that person, you'll be in the same situation they're in, because you want to drink and do all that other stuff and just hang around or whatever. So it's just leave like that. Why is you laughing?
Yeah, like, hey, Michelle, you terrible, man. This is a serious conversation being had. And like, y'all, man, y'all
right.
man.
That's right.
So Marcus, I guess
What's
we're
right?
not supposed to be serious. So that's why I cut up. That's why I cut up, because when you try to be serious, they laugh.
No.
First of all, I said nothing. So why are you coming after me?
You was
This
on
camera.
mute. That's all it was. You should have cut your camera off too.
Oh,
But yeah,
oh
no,
boy.
but I mean, like, it comes a time where you can't, just because, okay, I've known this person since third grade, and we've been through this together and everything. Hey man, eventually you get to that, hey man, like, this is the last stop and this is it. We
Yeah.
got to go our separate ways, because if I'm trying to go here and you want to go down there, all you're going to do, I can't uplift you. You're going to pull, more than likely, you're going to pull me down to where you at. And
See
I
all
may
those
try
red
to
flags.
and then, yeah, and while I'm trying to uplift you and bring you up to my level, all I'm doing is slipping and losing my grasp. And next thing y'all know, I'm down in the slums with you. So, man, people have to learn to, man, you have to cut those relationships.
Choose wisely. Like, there's also a level of responsibility that we have as people who are picking who our partners are. So I don't want it to also seem that everybody's like, okay, well, it's always the other person. Like, I've had problems with picking people for the wrong reasons. And it's like,
Okay.
there has to be a level of accountability. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that's where having good friends, honest friends,
That comes into
plays a
play.
role. Yeah.
That comes into play.
Mhm.
well, they got to listen.
They do have to listen, but they'll be back. When they don't listen, they'll be back.
That part. So, what advice do we have for our audience tonight about the quote and everything else? Like, what would we tell them today? What would we tell them tonight? What would you have? What would you say, Chris? What would you say?
Listen to me now, believe me later on. And that ain't just for me, that's for anybody. Like, yo, man, you, once you see it, like, all right, now it might cut them slack the first time, but once it's that continued behavior, then like, yo, you look, it ain't gonna change. You can't change a leopard's spots. Ain't that what they said?
That's true.
Jesus, Chris, can we
I'm
just get a lexicon for you? Oh my God.
Just dropping them. Let's
Nah,
go
bitch.
another one.
What is this, 7,
Yeah.
8?
Look,
If it's a spade, call it a spade. If it's sun's rising in the north, then you go to the south. Like, dude, what the hell?
Are we doing Negroes? What are we doing?
yeah, go. You made me seem like I was
Harriet Tubman?
straight
Follow the North Star.
Yeah.
Follow the
I'm
drinking
saying,
gourd.
oh my gosh, man.
What's your advice? Keisha, what's your advice for the people?
I think I've given enough tonight.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Let's see, what advice would I give? Be accountable. Be accountable for your actions. Pay attention to the flags. Know what your non-negotiables are, because that will help you determine if these flags are serious enough to walk away or not, serious enough to not give somebody a second chance. So yeah, you definitely have to know you first. You have to know your limits. Know your limits and your non-negotiables. And pay attention. Pay attention. And make sure if you're in a relationship, you're in it because this is what you want. It's not because you're being forced or anything else beyond this. I love this person loves me. They have they care about me. They want the best for me. I want the best for them first, and then everything else, kids come second to that. It has to be your love for them first.
If you're not happy, leave. That's all I got. If you're not happy, leave.
That's if you're happy and clap your hands.
I don't think that.
Listen to your corner and watch for the hook.
Oh wow, that was nice, Marcus.
What you say, Marcus? Watch for the hook.
Nah, listen to your corner and watch for the hook. That's it. Just listen to your friends. If you got good friends, listen to your friends. They're more than likely they're looking out for your best interest. So do that.
And don't disappear and say, I'm gonna call you back.
It's okay from experience. Yeah, go.
Hey, Keisha, I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, you, hey Marcus, you done something up, man. I seen it like in her eyes.
Call you back.
It was down in it. It was, Chris, because I know what I did. I know what I did. So, cut me deep, Shrek. I gotta go.
Did you call her Shrek?
You call me Shrek, Marcus?
What is happening right now?
No, you take it off of mute.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. So as we close out our hour, yeah, basically what everybody said, and wrapping it up with a bow, dude. If you're not happy, leave.
No.
At the end of the day, you are responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for your advancement in life. And if somebody is blocking that, you might want to reconsider. You know what I'm saying? So do your due diligence. Life is too short. And just because somebody's not doing it, there's somebody out there that will. And you just kind of have to be honest about what you want out of life, what you're going to tolerate and what you won't, and stick to it. You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody has let's move on. So as we go ahead and close up the podcast, thank you for getting us here. And yeah, 30-day challenge is still going on. Well, obviously we're only on day 5. The story has started. So if you haven't caught the first few episodes, go ahead and do that. They're also intertwined in with some collaborations I'm doing with All Things Black podcast with Daryl. The first segment is Provider Woman. Whose fault is it? The provider woman.
Oh wow. Okay. Sorry.
So, Chris, do you have any plans for the weekend? I mean, we got this pause. We got to keep it going.
Apparently, Marcus has something to say about Provider Woman. I think y'all are confused of what this woman is providing. I think
No, I
So
just
that shows you that my own teammates don't support me on 30 Day Challenge because they have not listened to the podcast, so they don't know what I'm talking about. So let's move it on. Thank you, Marcus and Chris, for being so transparent. Now, but you literally just said provider woman is completely not what I was talking about on the
I
podcast.
wasn't talking about that. I had a thought. I just had a thought.
Nah, son. You said lady of the night. What, y'all communicating telepathically now? So www.c4challenge.com if anybody wants to actually listen to the content that's being put out. Yeah, so we are in the story mode. We are working with and doing collabs. But beyond that, check us out. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the website, www.lookinglass.fans. And yeah, that's it. I got nothing. So do you guys have anything else that you want to say? So much support coming from you guys.
Actions speak louder than words.
Thank you, Marcus. And he knows. Marcus knows about that saying. Wind it up. So as always, you guys take care, stay safe, be well.
Wind it up, people.
To be themselves.
Trust a snake to bite you.
Right.
Trust a lion to lie from you. Trust a thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to be them. But know them when you see them. You know what I mean?